Είναι το podcast από το α στο ω του newsbomb.gr. Είμαι η Georgina Ducci και αυτή τη φορά έχουμε ένα τελείως διαφορετικό podcast α στο ω στην αγγλική του εκδοχή, γιατί έχουμε την απίστευτη χαρά να έχουμε μαζί μας ένα πολύ αγαπητό συγκρότημα στην Ελλάδα και μιλάω φυσικά για τους αγαπημένους, λατρεμένους μας Madrugada, οι οποίοι θα βρίσκονται στην Αθήνα στις 24 Σεπτεμβρίου για μια φοβερή, για μια μεγαλειώδη συναυλία στο Καλιμάρμαρο Στάδιο. Είναι εδώ λοιπόν μαζί μας στο στούντιο ο Σίβερ, το Φρόντε και ο Γιον και θα ξεκινήσουμε ευθύς αμέσως να τους δίνουμε, θα κάνουμε ένα ταξίδι μαζί τους σε 26 αυτή τη φορά σταθμούς, όσα και τα γράμματα της αγγλικής αλφαβήτου, ένα ταξίδι λοιπόν με σταθμούς στη ζωή τους και στην καριέρα τους, στην φοβερή αυτή καριέρα. Ξεκινάμε λοιπόν ευθύς αμέσως να καλωσορίσουμε το συγκρότημα, τα μέλη του συγκροτήματος. Sivert, Frode, Jon, we're very glad you are here. We're very glad you are back in Greece as Madrugada now. Thank you very much for your time and for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We are going to start this trip from A to Z, and we are going to make a trip together, this trip has 26 stations of your career and your life. These stations are in alphabetical order, so we can start our journey from letter A, and I will give you A for Abbey's Adoption.
That was the name of the band when I joined back in 1993, I think it was. I'm not sure whether any of us really thought that was a very great band name.
I really liked it.
You liked it, okay.
It sounded like Jane's Addiction.
Yeah. That was somehow the problem too, wasn't it?
That was John who came up with the name.
Yeah, came up with it. And as you know, Abbey's and Adoption is not too far from each other in the dictionary, and that's partly the reason why it became that name. I'm not too proud of it, to be honest, but it's a part of the history.
The second station is the letter B, and B is for Buras Robert.
Yeah, I mean, he's obviously the guy who's not with us anymore in this sort of lineup of the band. We miss him very much, and I mean, getting back together now has been, it's a way of sort of remembering him too, you know. There's so many memories and sort of our history together, you know. It doesn't make sense to talk to anyone else about, but I mean, we do talk about him quite a lot. He was an extremely gifted musician, like very, very passionate about music. I think he always wanted to be a sort of in a band or like a rock star, or just living, breathing that the whole thing, you know, the whole culture and the lifestyle and the music, you know. So that was. Anyone else want to say?
Yeah,
something?
well, it's also a good way to remember him to just a couple of the songs on the new album. He contributed as a songwriter, so his music still lives on. So. And by sort of like adding his music to the newest album, it's also a way of remembering him.
Mm-hmm. So we continue with the letter C, and C is for Times at Midnight.
Yeah, it's the title of the new album. I mean, it just, to me, when I found that title, it's been in my mind for a while, but it just fit the mood of the album, and it sounded like a Madrugada album, you know. We do I think we have a nocturnal kind of vibe to what we do, sort of night music, those moods of being in a motor vehicle, a car, a bus, at night, you know, driving down the road, you know, passing lights like industrial sort of landscapes and stuff. Just the mood of being up when everybody else is sleeping. It's always been inspiring to us, and also, I mean, the whole chimes at midnight thing. It comes from Shakespeare, really. It's I remember seeing the Henry V movie when I was a teenager, and I was always into sort of like historical stuff. And there's this key moment where Harry sort of is turning his back on his old sort of drinking friends, and John Falstaff and John Falstaff says, but we heard the chimes at midnight, you know, we shared all this stuff, you know, Jesus, the days that we have seen. And I used that line in one of the lyrics, and so it's sort of like it just became natural that it should be the title. It's sort of the same thing we did with Industrial Silence, because that was a line in Strange Color Blue.
And it's the first album after 13 years for Madrugada, is that right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, we continue with letter D, D for Darkness.
Oh, yeah, it sort of ties in with my answer on the previous one. I mean, we're not in darkness is sort of almost like a cliche. It's used to sort of describe the sort of morbid sides of any kind of you know, like a song or any art. You know, darkness. It can be a very empty thing. To us, I think we're more sort of drawn to the night, you know, not necessarily the darkness, but the mood, you know. It's emotions and moods always been very important to us. Darkness as a sort of a, you know, like the darkness, you know, I don't know.
Nightly Disease was a dark album, but the newest record is not. It's more a Madrugada on the lighter side, I'd say. It's more like a positive, romantic album. So I guess Madrugada at the moment they're kind of like stepping a little bit out of the shade and not necessarily into the sun, but mm-hmm. It's Madrugada on the lighter side.
And Frode, what about you?
Well, the darkness, yeah. I don't have any strong associations right now to bring to the table. I think they answered it nicely here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's go in letter E. E end of Madrugada in 2008.
Yeah, I mean, it seemed we had come to to a place then, of course, with Robert passing, that it didn't really seem like the band could go on. I guess also that was sort of what was expected of us. It's just like felt like it was the end of our band, and taken us some time to sort of come to terms with what happened, and to sort of think that we might actually create a new chapter now for the three of us who are left, you know. Help getting John back in the band. I mean, John's been away since early 2002.
Mm.
Yeah.
Mm.
A new era. Is that right?
It is,
second era of Madrugada.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Now we're just sort of taking it as it comes, you know.
Mm-hmm. Okay. In letter F, I have your name, Frode. Frode Jakobsen.
Mm. That's an old Viking name. Means the wise one.
Yeah.
Yeah. And maybe you should talk about.
Well, yeah, Frode is one of my dearest friends. We met when we were skiing back in our teens. Yeah, we were traveling throughout northern Norway, competing. We were like cross-country skiers, but as time went by, we were training a lot in the ski slopes of Stokmarknes, where we come from. But after a while, Frode was really into music, and we introduced each other for a lot of music, and our ski careers went down like that because we were just constantly talking about music when we were out there skiing. So, and that was the small start for this band actually. We parked our skis and we started playing together with our friend Marius, and the rest is history.
Okay. G is Greece and Greek audience.
Yeah, I mean, it's been an ongoing thing really since the first time we came here in 2000. It was already kind of sold out in quite a big place, and it really made an impression on us, you know. I mean, we had been traveling around Europe, and every place we came, it was, you know, you had to convince people to sort of bring their friends back in, and so we've seen it sort of grow, you know. But this place, it was different, you know. It was already a very enthusiastic crowd, and people seemed to be taking our band, our music, our art, you know, very seriously, and that's something we really needed at that point. I think we all appreciated it very much, and we kept coming back. It always was a highlight on every tour coming here, you know. So and it's been growing. It's been kind of an adventure, really, you know.
Mm-hmm. So in the Little H, I have Herodion Theatre.
Yeah, I guess that's for me as well. Yeah, that was in 2016 when I did the Lioness album. I had been here. I played at Piraeus Academy twice during the spring, which was a huge step up for me. And then arrived this opportunity to do Herodion, and in the autumn actually. So it was amazing. It's like nothing I've ever done before or since. You know, the next thing now that's gonna compare to that is probably doing the Kalimarmaro Stadium with Madrugada. You know, so it's a nice thing though that we're in this country where you can actually play at these monuments. You know, it's a totally. It has its own very, very special atmosphere because it means something, the history. You know.
And I remember when we had talked back then, before this live concert, you had told me it was a great dream for you.
Yeah, I had been visiting the Acropolis many times and just looking over the wall, you know, and you see Herodion down there in the slopes, and it's like, that looks like a nice, nice venue for a concert. It was only later that I sort of learned about the history of the place with Maria Callas, and you know, I've seen Leonard Cohen recordings of him performing there, so it was a great honor.
So I is for, of course, Industrial Silence.
Yeah, our debut album. It took us about 5 years to make it, and it's a very special album for us. We were really struggling a lot to kind of find our way musically, and it took us a long time to find a way to express ourselves. But around I will say late 97, 98, things were really starting to click, especially with a song like Strange Color Blue, which was an important song for us. We've been talking about that song a lot, but we went away from the classical verse chorus kind of songwriting that we've been doing a lot, and it was more based on a mood, on energy, on dynamics. You know, it was more spoken words. That became very important for the whole album. And it's a record that we're really proud of, and a record we celebrated in 2019 at this great tour that led us here.
Okay. So, J is for Jon. We are going to meet Jon.
Yeah, do you want to start, John, or should we start?
I think you can just take this
You can
away.
start. Yeah.
John is okay.
I can say, like he said, we met when we were teenagers as skiing. I met him when he was a little kid too. We were living close to each other, but we haven't been hanging out so much together. And I remember that moment where kind of like you come from very small places, not much to do, and John wasn't didn't feel like a part of a gang. Neither was I. And I remember we were sitting down at a local cafe, being very bored as teenagers, And we were sitting by this table. There was a lot of people talking, and John just sat down. It was winter, and he went over and bought himself an ice cream. And he was just sitting quietly watching the conversation of these other people. And he took the ice cream and he dipped his nose. So he had ice on the tip of his nose. And he just sat there waiting for a reaction. And I was like, that guy, I have to hang out with him much more often. It was the best thing I've seen. So
Andy Kaufman of Stock Market.
Yeah. And we clicked, and we had a lot of in common with humor, and same the passion that we discover after a while with music. So the first time I ever played bass was when John was playing the drums.
So what about you, Sivert?
I mean, I'm very good friends with John, and I mean, John is probably the funniest guy I know. I mean, the world have sort of missed out on a great comical talent with John playing the drums on it, and John's so easygoing and great to be around, and also a great drummer. Having him back in the band in 2019, it's that sort of pulse of Madrugada that I remembered from the very beginning. This sort of very controlled but very inventive way of playing the drums. That's not like, it's not a taught thing. It's not. It's a DIY kind of very musical, cool way of playing the drums, and I totally just recognized that when we got back together in getting ready for the tour in 2019, how much I sort of missed that sort of vibe,
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So, the letter K is for Kalimarmaro Stadium.
Yeah, we always dreamt of playing a stadium, When me and Frode met, we listened to bands like R.E.M. and U2, and it was actually always a dream for us to play really big arenas. And I think that our music, it's kind of like panoramic, it's widescreen music. We like to play it in front of large crowds and big venues. It's suitable for big venues. So it's a life hack for us. It's been a dream for a long time, and we were there yesterday, and even though it's really, really big, it feels kind of intimate because it's kind of narrow. So I think we all came back with a sense of, well, guys, this is going to be a great evening. So we're really looking forward to that.
We are looking forward to see you there. And L is for life lessons.
Life lessons?
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna get
no, don't.
we're gonna get all philosophical now.
No, we're not. Life lessons for us. There haven't been many.
You read this kind of books, Frode, where you get life lessons.
I guess we're at an age now where we should be very sort of have a lot of advice and stuff to dish out, but I don't know. I don't feel very sort of just taking it as it comes. I have a very intuitive approach to life, really. But what lessons have life taught us? I don't know.
Many.
Lately, it's don't plan too far ahead, really, with the pandemic and everything. It's just keep it kind of, a couple of years. It's enough. You can manage in the short term.
A life lesson for all of us.
Yeah, I think so.
So M is for motivation. Motivation for you as Madrugada right now.
Well, it's been back to Kalimarmaro. That's been we got invited to do that in the end of 2019, and that was something we really wanted to do, but we wanted to have new material. We didn't want to do the same as what we did on the previous tour. So, doing that unique stadium was a big motivation to get the record done, get our stuff together, really get the band up and running. And everything we do now is really pointing to the 24th of September. trying to make that into something really special.
Motivation can be made out of marble.
Okay. For N, let's go to Norway for a while.
Yeah, Norway is where we come from. I don't know what to say about. I mean, it's a very beautiful place. I'm kind of more sort of. I feel a very close connection to where we're from. You know, from the north of Norway. It's where a lot of our sort of early memories are from as a band, and also the nature. Just something up there that resonates with my soul a lot, you know. Apart from that, we always dreamt of getting away, you know. We dreamt of getting away from northern Norway. We wanted to go to Oslo because that was where you got a record deal, and then after that we wanted to get to travel with our music. So I mean, we wanted to get out of Norway, and I mean, in a way we sort of succeeded. But it's been a bumpy ride. Yeah.
Yeah, but with the Westerholm project, it's sort of like I don't know if you know it, but it's the new videos that we've been sort of like promoting for last year. It's just kind of like embracing the place where we're from, with a lot of picturesque, beautiful landscapes from Westerholm, where we grew up. So I think that when you come of age and become adult, we appreciate our hometowns more now than we used to when we were like teenagers, and we, as Sivert said, we just wanted to get the hell out of there. Yeah.
Okay, for O, I will give you a name, and the name is, just a second to tell this name right, Øystein Vigord Wolf.
Yeah, he's a friend of mine. He's a poet, and I've been producing a record for him, and but we knew him back in the 90s when we came down to Oslo, and I had a bar, which was really like a music bar for musicians. It was a really nice place, and he was hanging out there, and we were looking for a name, and I asked him. He was familiar with our music. And I asked him, do you have a name to suggest what to call this band? You know, we still had the Abyss option. And he suggested Madrugada. I never heard it, and he explained the meaning of it. And at that time, we had the song Strange Color Blue, which was that important song for us. And for me, the meaning kind of clicked, and the feeling of the word. But I also remember that it sounded a little bit like Metallica. It sounded very hard. So we were not sold at once. We had to chew on it before we chose it.
Okay. For P, I have plans.
Plans.
It's the word plans.
Yeah, I mean, we touched on the whole Kalimarmaro thing. Like, that's a big plan we have. Apart from that, like, our plans are to keep playing now until, like, at least over, you know, next summer, really. You know, we've just been through this whole pandemic thing, been waiting to get our album out, and the tour just started. So that's our big plan. We don't really have a lot of plans apart from that. This band never had a plan. Like, we never really planned too far ahead, and we just sort of went where the music took us. And sometimes it would have been good for us to have more plans, probably, you know. I
had very big plans.
Yeah, but I mean, you know, too, we sort of strayed from our sort of path now and then, but I don't know. It feels like we're in a good place now, really, where we do the stuff that we plan to do, and we stick with the script, you know.
For Q is quarantine of COVID.
It's a horrible time, really. It was very boring. But, it did get to spend more time with the kids, which I appreciate.
Yeah, luckily we had done a lot of the record finished in LA, so it would be a crisis for us if that hadn't happened. So at least we had an album to finish, but we had to sort of like finish it with our producer on a TV screen in a studio in Oslo. He was beaming in from LA. It was kind of like a strenuous and kind of difficult thing, but luckily the direction of the record, it was set in LA, so it was never a crisis, but it just turned into a kind of a slow process. But at least a good thing to have something to do while the cultural or music scene was shut down. So it was a good thing for us to have something to cling on to.
Mm-hmm. We continue with the letter R, and is the reunion of Madrugada.
Yeah, reunion normally isn't such a sexy thing in rock music, but I think we made it work. And I mean, I think we're in many ways, even if Robert's missing, I think we never played better together, at least not the three of us now. And it's very solid. There's full focus on being a good live band, and I think we appreciate what we have now more than we ever did before. I certainly feel that way. Just to sort of appreciate what the band is. That there's some unique things, qualities to some of the music that we made that I'm really proud of, that I wasn't really able to appreciate in the past. But so, and that gives you some energy and sort of a pride, a confidence that's very useful when you go up on stage. And so I think we made a reunion. Our reunion is one of the better reunions that I know of, really.
Yeah, Industrial Silence seemed to be a relevant record when we toured it 20 years on. So it was great to see that it's sort of like still connected with the old audience, and that there was a lot of new audience as well, young people even that weren't born when the record was released back in 1999. So it still felt like a relevant record.
Okay, and now we were going to meet Sivert. S for Sivert Høyem.
It's another Norwegian name, so just so you know.
Everybody knows his voice is great, and obviously a very good songwriter and writes great lyrics. But I will sort of like promote his humorous sides as well. That was one of the things that I really missed when I was not part of the band. After I quit the band, I've moved up north, and we weren't hanging out that much anymore. And we really invented some kind of internal humor that I really missed. So I would say that if the world missed out on a comedian, Sivert Høyem is also a very, very, very funny guy.
Wow. Thank you, John.
And what about you, Frode?
But you also have a negative side. Yeah, we met as teenagers, and he was playing in a band, and I remember I think we quickly connected to our ambition about creating a really great band.
Yeah, we did. I thought we just clicked right away.
Yeah, and and we were that little clique of 4 people, and it's really we had that journey together, and it's been a hell of a ride. No, but it's been, we had our all musical upbringing. There's so much to say. I remember him on the rehearsal. We were making songs, and these are songs that we never released. But anyway, I remember that, hey, we can really take this someplace. So when Sivert joined, the whole ambition became even bigger, and we've been having this common dream, and which we are really doing here, with this gig that we're gonna do. It's a big thing, And a lot of people are just laughing at our ambitions. But now it's big like that.
Next question.
Okay.
Look who's laughing now.
We haven't done it yet.
Yeah, let's
But just the
not forget
idea
that.
of it.
Yeah.
Maybe.
So, T is for tours.
Oh, it is the best time, really. I really appreciate it more and more, you know. It is, and especially now when, you know, things are really coming together on stage, you know. If you make sure you're prepared, you know, for the tour, and if it's going well, you know, if people are coming to see you, and it really has been going well for a long time now, and it is just a wonderful life, you know, especially when you're on a bus and you don't have to get up at 7 and go to the airport and go through security and stuff like that. If you're all of us together on the bus driving through Europe, you know, and it's a spring day, you know, it's a good time to be on the road, you know.
Yeah, I never experienced touring as good as it is at the moment, because everybody's so. I think there's a lot of gratitude, the fact that we have a second chance, a second coming, so nobody really wants to fuck it up. But that's it's really professional, and I really just love the whole routine of every day on tour. Everything is just one goal, you know. You go out running, you do some sleeping, you eat at set times, doing the same thing every day, just with one focal goal, which is to pull it off as good as you can when you hit the drum kit at 9 o'clock in the evening. So yeah, it's I just love the routine, and the fact that it's become very professionalized.
For the letter U, I want you to tell me an untold and an unknown story from stage, from the backstage, from the studio.
Oh, this is so tough.
A story
do you have
from-
one?
from the
Unknown
backstage.
story from, God. And it's,
Or from you,
yeah.
the three of you.
Backstage or in the studio?
Yeah, whatever. Just from an unknown story. I'm not a good teller of stories, really. It's so boring, really. I mean, we should have some stories to tell at this point.
Can't believe it.
There are many.
We did have one thing we talked about yesterday, and we've been joking a lot of all the missed opportunities with this band. You know, we have been we were focused on making the music, and we've sort of gone where the music took us. And but sometimes we did some weird choices, like when we had Angelo Badalamenti, who does all the stuff for David Lynch, do some string arrangements for us on the Deep End record. I remember him. He loved that song so much, and he was like, "Let's collaborate. We should make an album or whatever, you know." And it's like, and that was a dream for us, you know. We were like huge admirers of him, and it's like a huge inspiration. So it's like, why did that never happen? You know, that opportunity. It's like we were joking. It's like, no, we got to go up and down, and we were on our way down then. You know, it's like, see you later. You know, it's a dream. It would be a dream come true, but no thanks. You know, it's like it's so silly. It's you know, it's we should have done that. And who knows if it would have happened, or if that's just a thing he says to everyone. But we had a feeling it wasn't like he was really impressed with that song, and that was a missed opportunity.
Mm-hmm. For the letter V, I want you to tell me about the Vestelaren project.
Yeah, well, we were kind of struggling in order to find a visual accompaniment to the record. You know, what kind of videos we were going to sort of like make. There were quite a few ideas, including horses and expensive cars, that did not resonate that well with us. It was not us. They were good ideas, but it was definitely not Madrugada. So we were kind of like struggling to find a way to to make the visuals right. And I don't know whose idea it was, but I think that it started with our photo session we had with Knut Åserud, our court photographer, in our native Vesterålen, and we I guess the idea evolved from that. Well, we love the nature of Vesterålen, and it was also a great thing to challenge ourselves with the playing live music, because it's all recorded live. You know, we're actually playing when the house is burning down behind us, and so it was a way of forcing an extra kind of quality to the project by playing it live in really dire, hard weather conditions. So I think that the challenge with a limited amount of time in stunning, picturesque landscape in every kind of weather conditions, be it rain or wind, it was something that was appealing to us, and the fact that it was back home where we started this band.
And the videos are amazing. We have seen
Great.
Thanks.
They're amazing. We continue with the letter W, and I want you to tell me about the working process of a new song or for the new album.
It could be many ways. Do you
Yeah.
want to say anything about that?
No. Like you said, it can be many ways. I think it's been very different from record to record. You know, and now it's very different since Robert is not here. He you know, but we did this. This is a kind of a special process in the way that we wanted to keep the energy from our live band. So we wanted to go quickly into the studio to not lose that. So the process of choosing which songs should go on and rehearsing them was pretty fast. Some songs, if we were struggling too much on an idea, we'd just throw it away. Where maybe if you had longer time, we would work more on it. But I like that. So we decided to record the record live in the studio, and just have a little bit more like a fearless process. I think we were a little bit burned together when we did the Nightly Disease, because that was done with really high shoulders, and it was very just a terrible experience from time to time. Especially you, John, which, you know, the drums are are extremely hard thing to do in the studio. It's a very psychologically difficult instrument to do, especially in the studio. So don't have you know, there we were just recording the drums first, and you put layers on it. It makes it even worse, that process. But now we just play together, and it was really laid back, cool vibe. We kept our, you know, I don't remember any moments where kind of like high shoulders, and
Well,
it was just
are cool. Yeah. Very nice.
So I think that's really unique with this album. We've never done that before.
And I think as regards the latest album, that the song Ecstasy was going to be in this album. Is that right?
It was actually written in an earlier project that I had. And I visited Greece with Paradise. It was sort of a band that I had going for a little while with some British musicians. A guy called Rob McVeigh, guitarist. We worked very well together as songwriters, and that's the first song we wrote together, really. And I remember coming back from that rehearsal, and it was like, wow, we can really write songs together, you know. So, and it was just, since that album never happened, you know. Rob Ellis, actually, the drummer of PJ Harvey's band, was in that band as well, which was kind of a big deal for us. Yeah, it was just sort of kicking around since the album with Paradise didn't happen. And Rob came over because there was another Paradise song called Call My Name, which made it into Madrugada, which was always kind of it had some elements of, you know, stuff that Madrugada would do. It really felt like it would fit, you know. So that was one of the songs that was brought into this project. And then when we realized that we had to leave LA early, Rob had been playing guitar on Call My Name, and he suggested we do Ecstasy. I think he'd been talking to Frode, and
Yeah.
and we did that in the night when people came in from different kind of bars, where people had been, because we thought the session was over, so we were relaxing. I think I was at the Roosevelt Hotel when I heard about this. So we made our way back there and just quickly set up whatever instruments we had and did like 3 or 4 takes of the song, and one of them is what you hear on the record. And I always will remind me of that sort of lonely, weird, uncertain feeling, of leaving LA and knowing that something monumental was happening in the world that you'd never experienced before in your lifetime, So it was kind of a special moment.
Yes. And now we have the difficult letter X that I couldn't find a word from X to give you. So I have a challenge for you. And I want you to tell me a Greek word from X.
Well, then I'll do something that's illegal in Norway. It's like alcohol commercial. It's the Xinomavro grape, which is a great red wine grape. And my favorite is a guy called Apostolos Timopoulos from Nausa in Macedonia. He makes great Xinomavro wine.
Did we have some of that yesterday?
Yeah, and if you hear this, Mr. Timopoulos, we would like you to make the Madrugada wine, because you're very, very skillful at what you're doing.
Okay.
Fingers crossed, yeah.
And what about you?
No, I'm totally with John on this. It's very tasty wine from that grape.
Yeah.
Xylophone, isn't that?
Xylophone?
That's X.
Yeah.
And that makes me think about a song with the Mad Season, which is called Wake Up. And I remember when we moved to Oslo, everybody got a place to stay. We were staying together, me and John, in a big flat. I remember Robert had just joined our band, and he came down to Oslo, and I said, "Where are you staying?" And he was, "I'm staying with you." I said, "You don't have a place?" No. So he actually stayed. I had a big bed, so he stayed the first half year. We were sharing bed, and he used to play that song every night when we had to play that song before we went to sleep. The Wake Up with the Mad Season.
And that was like album,
and that was xylophone all over the place. It's really.
I have another xylophone story actually.
Yeah?
It has Robert in it too. I remember on the Industrial Silence sessions when we did Quite Emotional. That is there's a xylophone on there, which is kind of it's a proper xylophone, but it's kind of
small one.
Yeah, it's a small one. It's what they have in schools and stuff, but it sounded good, and they had it at that studio. And I remember Robert staying up rehearsing in the office of the studio because he plays that part, that xylophone part. It's really kind of arranged and beautiful, and he had to work out a way to dampen the notes that he just hit so they wouldn't crash, harmonically with the next one. And he used like a big sort of a glove, like also like a kid's glove, like we used to have when we went to school in the winter. And I thought that was says a lot about him, like we knew him, his dedication and also it's sort of it clashes a bit with the sort of view that people might have of him as this rock and roll guy. It wasn't always like that.
And in Greek is xylophone.
Yeah.
This instrument.
Yeah.
And here's another unknown story that you have told.
Yeah.
So for why is your best song as Madrugada? Your best song for each one of you?
Our favorite song.
Strange Color Blue, I'd say.
Okay.
It's a tough one. I mean, because they have come in different ways, Yeah. I might have said like Honeybee, but I mean that was mostly a song that I brought in. It's been sort of done. It is really one of my favorite songs, but I think we're sort of like more special when we work when we do it together, like in the old days. I think probably to me, like Strange Color Blue too is probably like it's our flagship song. You know?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, then I will choose the same, so we are in line here. No, but yeah, it's the same. It was a very important song for us. Kind of changed the way of writing songs together.
And our final destination is Z. I don't want to give you a word from Z, but I want to tell me your message to your Greek fans.
I'm just we do have a song called Zebra.
Yeah, that's true.
Actually, yeah. So it could be that. But I mean, yeah, message for our Greek fans. I mean, it is, you know, we're very, very excited to be back here. It's been good to be here just to, you know, to meet people and talk with people. And it's bringing, you know, coming here now and just going to the stadium, having a look around there. It just, it didn't really dawn on me until we came here now that we're actually doing this thing. We're playing at the Kalimarmaro Stadium. And we just hope everyone's going to be there because it's going to be a very, very special night for all of us.
We're going to be there in Kalimarmaro. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.